Great. All right, we will get started. I'm Lori Gaffey, the Chair of the Zoning Board of Appeals. I'm calling to order the regular monthly meeting of the Town of Clinton Zoning Board of Appeals, Wednesday, October 18th, 2023. First item on the agenda is a call to order and seating of members.
George Dorr.
Here.
Dennis Ermshire.
Present.
Drew Richards. Bertram Schnitz.
Here.
Lori Jaffe.
Here.
Maureen Noonan. Tom Schultz. Dylan Walter.
Since our secretary, Drew Richards, is not here, I need to and would like to appoint an acting secretary. Is there anyone who would be willing to do that tonight?
I'll do it.
Would you do it? George, would you? do it?
I'll do it.
Okay, let me give you that then. Thank you. George Dorr is appointed the acting secretary. And could you please read the legal notice?
Yes, sir. Well, this is a legal notice of public hearing, Town of Clinton. The Town of Clinton zoning appeals will hold a hybrid public hearing on Wednesday, October 18th, 2023 at 7 p.m. in the Rose Room of the William Stanton Andrews Memorial Town Hall, 54 East Main Street, Clinton, Connecticut, to consider the following: ZBA 23-10, 96 Pratt Road, Thomas Stevens and Associates, Inc., applicant, 97 Pratt Road LLC owner, application for certificate of variance of section 26.11.8 setback other than a front or rear setback. 3 requests for replacement residence. Census map 34, lot 13, lot 93, zone R20. At said hearing, all persons should have the right to be heard and written communication received. The application and accompanying maps and correspondence are available for public inspection in the land use office of the Town of Clinton Town Hall. Lori Jaffe, Chair, Town of Clinton ZBA, and this was emailed to the Harbor News twice on Thursday, October 5th and Thursday, October 12th, 2023.
Thank you, George. I'd like to note for the record that Dylan Walter has joined the meeting. Welcome, Dylan. And I'm going to seat Dylan for Drew Richards. The next item on the agenda is the minutes, review and approval of the September 20th, 2023 meeting minutes. I had suggested a proposed correction, which I believe has been made available to the board members. And it is on the page 204 of the posted minutes. And it's under the first sentence. The addition is under deliberation and decisions. It is written, the minutes started with prior to the start of deliberations, Jaffe spoke about 4 positive votes. And I thought that there should be something that was on the tape of the recording of the meeting that was not included in the minutes that explained that that I had inquired of Maureen Noonan and Dylan Walter as to whether or not they had listened to the audio of the public hearing. And they hadn't, which meant that they couldn't deliberate. So the proposed addition is Noonan and Walter were not present for the public hearing. Prior to the start of deliberations, Jaffe inquired of Noonan and Walter if they had listened to the audio of the public hearing. They did not. So I am proposing that that correction be added to the minutes. Is there any discussion among the board members?
No.
No? Okay. Okay, I'd like to,
You need a motion.
yeah, I need a motion, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as corrected for the September 20th, 2023 meeting minutes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, then the motion carried. Okay. Chair comments. At this time, I would like to reorder the order of the agenda so that the deliberation on ZBA 2310, if we get to the point of deliberations, which is 96 Pratt Road, takes place first before the deliberation on ZBA 23-8 and 23-9, 23 Lake Avenue. And again, that's assuming that the public hearing will close tonight on Pratt Road. The reason that I'm requesting this is that Abby Pearsall, our town planner, who was the town's representative, one of the town's representatives on the ZBA, has a town council meeting for about, she has to attend for about 20 or 25 minutes. Her presence is requested there, and she will be coming to our meeting then a little bit late, and I would like her to be present for the deliberation on Lake Avenue. Does anybody have any objection on the board?
No problem.
Okay, thank you. So I'd like to call for a motion to reorder the agenda so that the deliberation on ZBA 2310 takes place before the deliberation on ZBA 23-8 and 23-9.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'm opposed to.
Discussion? Okay, can we take, well, all in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so then we will proceed with the public hearing, and then when we get to deliberations, we will begin if we get to the point with 96 Pratt. Other than that, I have no comments from the chair. Receipt of applications, none received. And that's still correct? Okay. Okay, we're now at the public hearing section of our meeting. So we begin with the public hearing for ZBA 23-10, 96 Pratt Road, Thomas A. Stevens and Associates, Inc., applicant, 97 Pratt Road, LLC owner, application for certificate of variance of section 26.11.8, setback other than a front or rear setback, 3 requests for a replacement residence. Assessors map 34, block 13, lot 93, zone R20. Record ZBA 2310, Viewpoint Cloud. So just briefly to go over the order of the public hearing, the applicant will present. The board will have an opportunity to ask questions. The staff will have a chance to make any comments. If there are any members of the public who are present tonight, anyone in favor, opposed, or not taking a position but wishing to comment, we will see if anyone would like to make any such comments. We'll ask if any documents need to be read into the record. And then we will get to the point of discussing whether or not the board feels that there's enough information to close the public hearing. And if the board believes that it has received enough information tonight, there would be a vote on whether to close the public hearing. So I just wanted to go over that. Is there a representative here for the applicant?
We take about a 5-minute recess.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Ask for a motion.
We're going to have to take a 5-minute recess. Thank you.
You need to do that by motion.
Okay. Could someone make a motion to take a 5-minute recess?
So moved.
Okay.
That was George.
Yeah.
Second.
Bert? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
No.
Okay, we will return in 5 minutes, 7:15. Ready?
Back at 7:20.
7.
Twenty-four.
No, that's not right. 7:14.
14.
Are we ready to go back on the record?
Yes.
We're recording?
Yes.
All right, thank you. 7:14, we're back on the record. Is there a representative here for the applicant?
Yes, good evening. Chuck Mandel, agent for the applicant, George Marshall. I apologize, I can't be here in public today, but I have other obligations. If any time you can't hear me, just let me know and I'll try to speak slower or more clear. So the address is 96 Pratt Road. It's in an R20 zone.
Mr.
Any-
Mandel?
Yes,
I'm sorry. We had a request from the board. Can you turn the volume down just a little bit?
We have to.
We did. I'm sorry. We're just gonna turn it down a drop.
okay. I'm very loud, by the way. I apologize.
I can too loud or something.
Okay.
That's good, that's good.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Okay, no problem. So this is in an R20 zone. This lot was created well before zoning took effect. The house itself was built in 1946. Does everyone have copies of the plan to look at? If not, George can hand them out. George, why don't you hand the copies to the commission?
Oh, we're gonna put it up? Okay, we will put it up on the screen.
Maybe I'm saying,
Okay, perfect.
But if somebody wants to look at it, maybe we can.
22-2.
this should, yeah,
None?
this house on right on the property line against the fence.
We have it.
Yeah, okay, good.
We'll wait a moment. Thank you.
Okay, as soon as it's on the screen, let me know.
We're on the 814 site plan.
Yes. It's 8/14. It was revised. The revision date is 9/27/23. That's the revision date. Okay.
Well, I'm asking because Mr. Mandel, I didn't mean to interrupt, but there are two site plans in the record. I believe one was originally, is that correct, Christie?
No, yeah.
There was a site plan uploaded on 8/14/23, and then a revised site plan 8/22/23.
8/22. Yes, so yeah, that was a zone chart change. So that is I do have another plan that was revised, but the setbacks have not changed. So the variances requested will be the same. That's on the 8/22/23 plan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. I can't tell if it's up on the screen yet.
Yes,
Yes.
It is? Okay, perfect. So the subject site, it's a pre-existing non-conforming lot, and it had several non-conformities with regards to setbacks. The lot does not meet the current zoning requirements of 110 feet of frontage. It also does not have the minimum lot area. It's only, instead of 20,000, it's 11,076 square feet. As you can tell on some of the side yards, I only have 2/10 of a foot on one of the side yards. And then the other side of the existing structure is about 6.8 feet off. If you look to the bottom, it shows in orange is the existing lot, is the existing house. And then what we're proposing is we're going to center like a 30 by 54 square house, and we're going to center it within the setbacks as best we can. If we were strictly conformed to the setbacks, we could only have a 10-foot wide house. In regards to, we're also proposing to have this FEMA compliant, and we're going to be using the same septic system, which is still viable. We're reducing the coverage. The current coverage is 19.4%, which only 15% is allowed, and we're reducing that coverage to 11.38%. As I said, it would be FEMA compliant. It seems we really have no choice in regards to the structure is unsuitable for habitation right now. It needs to be torn down. It's almost uninhabitable. And in regards to fire safety, there's a fence on one of the sides where there would be no fire equipment would be able to access the property. And that's pretty much it. If there are any questions, I'll certainly answer those.
It's, Lori Jaffe, just a question I have is, you might have briefly alluded to it, but how does this different, the 8/22/23 uploaded site plan differ from the original plan that was uploaded on 8/14? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I'm at a disadvantage. I don't have that plan in front of me, but what we're presenting is what you're seeing is what we're presenting. I am not sure, I can't answer that question, but the variances that we're requesting tonight is what we're requesting, so.
Thank you.
Yep.
Does anyone on the board have any questions? Dennis?
I have no arguments with
I'm okay.
Dylan?
No, just. Great.
Okay. And I just have one question. You alluded to it. Could you just give us a brief explanation of the hardship?
The hardship is the house is in poor repair. It needs to be torn down. And since it's going to be torn down, by making it the less non-conforming is part of the, even though it's not a strict hardship, it would be conforming more to the neighborhood, and the reductions in nonconformity, I believe, are able to get us to speak before the commission.
And you'd indicated that if there was a full compliance with zoning, there would only be room for a 10-foot wide home?
That is correct. If you look at the site plan, the building setback lines, it's only a 50-foot wide lot, and the two setbacks are 20-foot side yards. So we could only have a house that's 10 foot. So I guess the hardship would be it's a pre-existing lot, and zoning came and took out all the buildable area, more or less. It's unreasonable. It's and it'll be keeping with the neighborhood. I think it's a great improvement to the area.
Does the staff have any comments? Sherry or Christie? Did you have any comments? No? Okay. At this point, is there any member of the public who wishes to speak in favor of this application? And I have to ask it 3 times. Is there anyone, a member of the public who is here who would wish to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone who would wish to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone, member of the public who wishes to speak in opposition to this application? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition to this application? Again, the 3rd time, is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition to this application? Okay, is there anyone here who's a member of the public who wishes to speak regarding this application but doesn't want to be characterized as being against it or in favor of it? Is there any member of the public here who wishes to speak regarding this application but is not either in favor of or against the application? And finally, I'll ask a 3rd time, is there any member of the public who wishes to speak regarding this application but is neither in favor of the application or in opposition to the application? Okay. Are there documents in the record that have been uploaded? Are there any documents, Mr. Mandel, that need to be or you wish to have read into the record that are not already in the record?
No.
Okay, at this point, we will decide whether or not the board will decide whether or not the public hearing should be closed. Bert, did you want a few more minutes to look at some information?
No, I was just going through the existing proposed requirements log.
Would you want a few more minutes?
No.
No, okay.
No.
Okay, so the question before us is whether or not the board has received enough information to reach a decision.
I have.
You have, okay,
Okay,
okay?
Yep.
Dennis, yes? Dylan, yes, and I have enough information. So I think at this point, since the board does have enough information to reach a decision, I would ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Um, Is there any further discussion before we take a vote on closing the public hearing? No one? Okay, can we please do a roll call vote, Jerry? We don't have to.
We have to make
All
a
right.
motion.
Okay,
Oh, for what?
this motion to, I'd like a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, that's George and Dennis. And any further discussion? Okay. All in favor of closing the public hearing for ZBA 231096 Pratt Road?
All right.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the motion to close the public hearing for ZBA 2310 is carried, is passed. Since that is the only item tonight under public hearings, we will move forward now to the deliberation and decision section of our meeting tonight. And although our agenda states the 23 Lake Avenue is under section A, we have reordered the order of the deliberation and decision section. So we will begin with deliberation on ZBA 2310 96 Pratt Road. And I will just note that the board has 65 days from today's date, which is October 18th, 2023, which is the date of the close of the public hearing to make a decision. So in ZBA 2310 96 Pratt Road, the applicant is seeking 3 requests for a variance of section 26.11.8, a setback other than a front or rear setback, to construct a replacement residence. Assessors map 34, block 13, lot 93, zone R20. As I indicated a few moments ago, the documents are in the record, and there's been no request to add to have any other documents read into the record tonight. At this point, I'd like to ask if there are any further comments by the board members in our deliberation of this application. George?
It's pretty basic to me. I have no further comments, actually.
No, all set.
Okay, you're all set? Bert? Dylan?
No.
You're all set?
Yep.
Okay, and I don't have any further comments, so I am all set as well. Okay, since it seems that we are ready to, is the consensus that we're ready to make a decision tonight? Yes, okay, yeah, and we have it up here, okay. What?
Take one.
I know. Okay, I had, since the board is now ready to reach a decision on this application, I have asked the staff to be prepared to assist us, as many boards and commissions do ask in our town, do ask staff to give input and often propose draft motions so that the board can look at them and see if it's helpful in the process of drafting a motion to approve. So our town attorney has previously stated that procedurally, she believes it's best to get started with an affirmative motion, which means a motion to grant as opposed to, a motion to deny or some other type of motion. That procedurally, that's a good way to get started. So our staff has provided us with a motion, and I'm going to pass this around for the board to take a look at. And so if you will allow us about a minute so we can read through this, and then we'll continue. Do you want Bert, do you want to pass it on to Dennis? Yeah, there should be enough for everybody. And if you could give one to Bill, please. And again, this is just proposed language for the board to review. Has everybody had a chance to look it over? All right, thank you. This. Right. At this point, I would ask if any member of the board wishes to make a motion to grant ZBA 2310.
I'll make a motion to grant.
Okay?
And, I'll read it, it's, like.
Yes.
Yeah. I move to, grant application ZBA 23-10 to grant side yard setback variance to allow 10-foot setback for the proposed single-family home on the east and west sides of the property, where 20 feet is required, and a 7-foot setback on the west side of the property to accommodate proposed stairs where 20 feet is required at 96 Pratt Road, Clinton, Connecticut, as shown on plans titled Site Plan Property of 97 Pratt Road LLC, prepared for George Marshall, 96 Pratt Road, Clinton, Connecticut, prepared by Thomas A. Stevens and Associates, revised through August 14th, 2023, and adopt the following findings of fact. One, the property is located in R20 zone district, which is governed by section 26.11.8 of the Clinton zoning regulations, governing required the setback from any lot line other than the front or rear lot line. Two, the application has met public notice and hearing requirements pursuant to CGS chapter 124(8)(7D. Three, the proposed reconstruction of the single-family home would substantially reduce the existing nonconformities on site by eliminating the existing front yard setback, ground coverage nonconformities, reducing existing side setback nonconformities, and would result in a flood compliant construction pursuant to section 17 of the Clinton zoning regulation. Four, the property is substantially more narrow than the majority of surrounding properties, most of which have more than 90-foot frontage. Five, strict enforcement of setback requirements for this property would result in a hardship pursuant to section 13.2 of the Clinton zoning regulations by limiting the width of a single-family home to 10 feet, and would deny the reasonable use of the property zoned for residential use.
Before we get to that, may I just make one correction? At the very end of the first opening paragraph, where it states revised through August 14, 2023. Since Mr. Mendel indicated the operative plan, I believe is that date should be
August 23rd.
August 22nd.
22nd.
I believe it's, I believe it's August 22nd.
Yes.
Okay, so with, if I can make that as a correction to.
Question, so this was prepared by the town attorney,
No, this is prepared by our town staff.
by the staff, okay, before the public hearing and everything?
We just saw this now.
Right,
But the point is, we have to make a motion to grant that doesn't mean we agree with it. We can't make a motion to deny.
in advance of the public hearing.
We don't.
It's an aid to deliberate. George made a motion and the language,
I can make a motion to grant different language, but this is the language they want to hear.
Right.
So
Right.
same thing, a little different.
well, I think it's the language that addresses, it's the language that addresses the variances that are requested rather than the language that anyone.
And if I could, through the chair, the town attorney has advised the ZBA that drafting motions in the affirmative for the ZBA in particular is the best course of action procedurally. So if a motion to approve carries, great. If it doesn't carry, then there's not a need to go back. So if a motion to approve fails, that's the end of the discussion. If a motion to deny fails, there has to be a second motion to approve that then has to carry forward. So the town attorney has previously advised the ZBA on multiple occasions and has instructed staff that motions are to be crafted to assist the board, that they be done in affirmative. It does not mean that staff is recommending. It doesn't mean that staff is trying to predict an outcome. It simply means that the town attorney has said this is the best procedural path for the ZBA.
But is your question,
Well,
why is your question why there's something that's prepared ahead of time?
Yeah, like, it just seems like, what's the point of us being here?
No, this is just a guide. We don't have to approve it.
Okay,
I have to make a motion to approve, you can get things moving. That doesn't mean I even agree with it.
Well, for example, I had asked for someone to, if someone would make a motion and George did.
Right.
George, I didn't ask George, no one asked George to make the motion as the draft motion is presented by the staff. He chose to do that.
Okay.
So that's, if we get to the point, later on of, another staff prepared draft proposed motion, if the person making the motion wants to put the motion into his or her own words, but incorporating some language,
Okay.
I think
all
when
right.
the staff prepares it, the staff, certainly has,
All right.
I just
It
want
just seems
to.
like we were locked into the words of.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
So for example, when I noticed with the assistance of staff, when I noticed that there was, the date was incorrect.
Okay.
Based on what Mr. Mandel had told us today, that was the operative site plan. I asked George if he wished to include that to reflect what happened, our discussion tonight.
Okay.
But I just want to make sure you're,
Yeah, no, I get it now.
Who was the second on that motion?
who was the second? I believe it was
Dennis.
Okay, so we've had a motion, we've had a second. Before we take a vote, does the board have any further comments on the motion to grant?
I have no motions.
Bert, Dennis, Dylan?
Just seemed oddly specific, but it does, I do,
I'm sorry, I can't.
it does seem oddly specific, but I get it, trying to like include everything, and I don't have problems with it.
But you have no other comments? Okay, and I don't have any comments or questions. So let's do a roll call vote, please.
George Dorr,
For
Dennis Ermshire,
Yes.
Bertram Schmitz,
Yep.
Dylan Walter,
Yeah.
Lori Jaffe,
Yes.
five votes in favor.
Okay, 5 votes in favor. So the variance carries.
Sure.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. Do you want to gather your? Okay, we are now, moving on to deliberation. I'll wait. For ZBA 23-8, 23 Blake Avenue, which has been continued from September 20th, 2023. The board has 65 days from August 16th, 2023, which is the date of the close of the public hearing to make a decision. Dylan, since you are seated for Drew, I am asking you now if you have listened to the audio recording of the August 16th, 2023 meeting.
So,
You have, and if you review the record, did you feel comfortable in deliberating tonight on this matter?
yes.
Thank you. So we have 5 voting members. Okay, before we actually start deliberating, I just have a few introductory comments. So it's like an introduction to the deliberation, but I think it's important because I think the board needs to look at the history of this project. On December 14th, 2022, the ZBA denied application ZBA 2218 for this project. A motion to approve failed to carry that night on a 1-4 vote, 1 yes, 4 no, and the associated CAM was denied. The applicant made modifications to the project and resubmitted under ZBA application number 23-1. That new application, the second application, was submitted within 6 months of the previous denial. On May 17th, 2023, the board voted unanimously not to hear that application pursuant to Connecticut General Statutes, Chapter 124, Section 8-6, finding that ZBA 23-1, the second application, was not substantially different from ZBA 2218, the first application. This current application, ZBA 23-8, is for requested variances, and 23-9 is the coastal site plan application. The supporting information submitted with ZBA 23-8 and 9 matches the information that was submitted with 23-1. This current application has the same dimensional variances as were requested in ZBA 23-1, and the applicant has acknowledged this. So the threshold question tonight for the board's consideration is whether this application, 23A, is substantially different from the previous applications, or whether a change in the condition of this property can be found that would alter the board's two previous decisions. In order to overturn the previous decision, the board would need to find that there is sufficient new evidence in the record to determine the substantial change in the application or circumstances affecting the property can be found. Now, if the board determines that the application is substantially different than the information presented in previous decisions, the board can consider granting the requested variances. So now for the deliberation on ZBA 23A-A, 23 Lake Avenue. This is an application for certificate of variance for sections 26.11.6 front setback and 26.11.14 maximum ground coverage for a replacement residence and sanitary septic system. Assessors map 70, block 67, lot 54, zone R10. Record ZBA 23A Viewpoint Cloud, continued from August 16, 2023 and September 20th, 2023. I'm acknowledging the documents are in the record and have been submitted. The public hearing is closed. So at this point, I would like to ask each member of the board for any comments on this application. George.
You stated something I have written right here, and I have it started with an asterisk, asking if this request, for all intents and purposes, is it substantially the same as previously submitted? That's the question.
Correct.
I don't think so. I think it's the same, basically the same. And that way, we already denied it, it'll be. Denied it once, refused to hear it the second time, wasn't substantially, that this is the same thing, so it'll be a third time. So that's my.
Okay. Thank you. Bert, did you have any comments that you'd like to make at this time during our deliberations?
I pretty much agree with what has been said already. But I don't think I have anything to add to that.
Dennis, did you wish to comment? Dylan. Dylan, did you have any comments?
Yeah, I'm just frustrated that we're having to keep going back and forth to prevent.
I'm sorry, could you speak up a little bit?
Yeah, I'm just frustrated that we've had to go over this property 3 times, that they got. Somebody's private, we're trying to dictate what somebody can do with their own private property, if they're ever means to make a flood compliant, safe, protected house versus leaving one that's existing there that is liable to flood, damage or prone to it. Why are we getting in the way? They're reducing the nonconformities and such, like, why are we getting in the way of them protecting their investment? It doesn't, because it doesn't meet 100% of the zone compliance when probably what, 1920, 1922 or something? Like, zoning didn't exist back then, otherwise they would have had a lot where they could build what they want when they wanted to. It just seems like it was foolish to reject the first application in the first place, and I don't know, I think it should be used as an opportunity to right or wrong. It's just my opinion.
I have some comments. As I had stated in my introduction, the threshold question is whether this application 23A is substantially different from the previous applications, or whether a change in the condition of the property or circumstances, a substantial change could be found that would warrant the board altering or revising or changing our previous decisions. As our town council stated at the May 17th, 2023 ZBA meeting during the public hearing on ZBA 23-1, the board must decide if the changes are material enough to be considered substantial. In my view, there are no changes in conditions or substantial differences from the previous applications that warrant a reversal of our two previous decisions. As I said, in application 2218, the first one was denied on a 1-4 vote in December of last year. In that application, the applicant had requested variances on the basis of reduction of nonconformities. The applicant did make modifications to the project and filed a new second application, which was submitted within 6 months of the previous denial. The board voted unanimously not to hear that second application pursuant to Connecticut law, finding that ZBA 23-1 was not substantially different from ZBA 2218. At the public hearing in May of 2023, I would express my view that ZBA 23-1 did not show a material change affecting the merits of the application. At that time, there were no change in circumstances of the site. The claim that the proposed structure would be, quote, safer, unquote, was not a material change from the first application, because I believe the applicant has always taken the position that the materials would be safer, the materials involved in new construction, and there were no changes to the CAM application. The applicant then filed a new third application, the current one, ZBA 23-8, and supporting information that was submitted with ZBA 23-8 matches the information submitted with ZBA 23-1. The proposed front setback was 16 feet, which is the same as in 23-1. The proposed maximum ground coverage was 25.7%, which is the same in application 23-1. So again, I don't see any changes or substantial differences that warrant a reversal of our decisions. The variances requested are the same, and the comments from Deep did not change in any substantial way. I recall that Marcy Bayland, who does analysis of deep issues, had made a comment. The reductions were a revision in the right direction, but she still expressed concern with proposed increase in maximum floor area, and she appended her original decision in which she had expressed those considerable concerns. I don't believe the changes, the proposed reductions in nonconformities were substantial, and that the proposed number of feet for the front setback, 16, is still significantly less than the 25 feet required, and the proposed maximum ground coverage, 25.7%, is still significantly above the minimum. No zoning changes were cited in this current application. Now, the applicant had emphasized the safety of the building materials in this application, but again, I believe the applicant has always expressed the opinion that the building materials would be safer, and that's understandable, but that's not a change from the first or second application. There are a few changes, perhaps, that could be looked at in the record in the third application, but in my view, neither of them or none of them are material enough to be considered substantial. The first application had one email in support. Application number 2, there were a few emails in support of the application, and for this current application 23-8, there were a number of supporting emails from the neighbors. I don't believe that change is material enough to be substantial that warrants a reversal of our board's previous 2 decisions. Secondly, the architect made a few statements at a public hearing in August, on August 16th, talking about modern construction methods using rated plywood sheathing. However, as I said, and I won't belabor it, from the start, the applicant has expressed that proposed structure will meet all building and fire codes and will meet FEMA and local flood zoning regulations. Again, the fire chief submitted a revised report. While his comments were helpful, I don't believe they will material change so as to warrant a reversal of our 2 previous applications. So I don't believe that there were substantial changes that warrant us reversing our prior decisions. And finally, the applicant, especially at the public hearing in August, the applicant emphasized that it's all about the porch that ran throughout the public hearing, that theme. But in my view, the porch is part of the project and has to be considered as such. And the board has to evaluate the entire project It's not up to us as a board to evaluate how people use their property or parts of their property. So those are my comments. Does the staff have any comments?
No.
Okay. So at this point, I would like to inquire if the board members believe that they have enough information to come to a decision on ZBA 23A.
I do.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
Bert, yes?
Yes.
Dennis? Dylan?
Yes.
Yes, and I do as well. And we have a copy of the, and similarly to, during our deliberations of the previous, application that was up this evening, I had asked the staff, to prepare, draft findings, to assist us as staff does on occasion for other boards and commissions, in Clinton. And as I said previously tonight, the town attorney has previously stated that procedurally, it's best for the board to start with an affirmative motion, meaning a motion to grant, as opposed to another kind of motion, motion to deny or whatever, that it's better practice, preferred practice to start with a motion to grant. So the staff has drafted proposed findings, draft findings is how they're phrased, I just now. The board has just been supplied with this tonight. I have not seen this before tonight, and since I'm just passing these out, I don't believe anybody else has seen them either. So I would like to take 30 seconds, if I may, for me to review this and for the members of the board to review it.
Front and back.
Yeah, front and back.
It's that. It's that.
Section.
Thank you. Good.
Just for the members of the public, the question was, there's a squiggly typological character, and it's a section mark.
I think being an attorney.
It's a reference to a section of a chapter of a state. So that's what Mr. Dorr was asking. I've reviewed it. You can just sort of either look up or let me know when you get a chance to look at it, but if you need another few minutes.
Okay.
Has everyone had a chance to review the proposal?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Okay. This time I would ask if anyone wishes to propose a motion to grant ZBA 23-8, which can include some of the draft findings that are in the draft findings handout that was prepared by our town staff.
Covers it all.
Would anyone wish to make a motion?
Well, get it moving. I'll make a motion to grant application CBA 23-9 for coastal site plan and 23 Blake Avenue, Clinton, Connecticut, as shown on plans titled coastal site plan prepared for John Kaufman, 23 Blake Avenue, map 70, block 67, lot 54, Clinton, Connecticut, prepared for Indigo Land Design LLC, revised for March 21st, 2023, with the following conditions. A, comments received from the town engineer received under application.
But you're getting off easy, huh?
No, because
It looks as though the language for the actual motion, a draft motion, isn't included on here. The language that is on your handout in the back is for the coastal site plan, which gets dealt with after the variance is voted on. So it would be a motion to approve ZBA 23H to grant the requested variances, and staff would recommend referencing the plans, coastal site plan prepared for John Collins, 23 Blake Ave,
started on this side.
revised from March
This is
21st.
the side. Okay, I'll make the motion to grant the ZBA 23-9.
Eight.
Just the description of the thing. To grant CBA 23-8, 23 Blake Avenue, Joe Ren applicant, Roberta Kaufman owner, application for certificate of variance of section 26.11.6, front setback, and 26.11.14, maximum ground coverage for replacement residence and sanitary septic system. Assessment map 70, block 67, lot 54, zone R10.
No.
Now this,
If you choose, or if you want to phrase.
no, this states it pretty good, that, motion to grant in that this property is located in the R10 zone district, which is governed by lot requirement standards listed in section 26.11 of the Clinton zoning regs. The application has met public notice and their requirements pursuant to CDS chapter 124, section 8-7B. 3, the proposed reconstruction of the single-family home would substantially reduce the existing nonconformities on site by eliminating an existing side yard nonconformity, reducing the existing front yard nonconformity, reducing the ground coverage nonconformity, and meeting requirements for the flood compliant construction pursuant to section 17 of the Clinton zoning regulation. 4, the zoning board approved previously denied an application, ZBA 22-18, for reconstruction of the single-family home on December 14, 2022. The ZBA voted not to hear modified application, ZBA 23-1, for the project on May 17, 2023, citing CGS chapter 124, section 8-6, and finding that the application was not substantially different enough to warrant a hearing within a 6-month time frame noted in statute. 5, materials submitted into the record for this application, ZBA 23-8, include plans showing additional reductions in nonconformity from previous application, ZBA 22-18. 6, the variances requested in this application, 23-8, are the same as variances requested in the previous application, ZBA 23-1. 7, the new information received during the public hearing for this application, 23-8, demonstrated that reconstruction of the home, subject to the proposed reductions in nonconformities, would generally improve public health, safety, and welfare, as construction methods and materials would be used to mitigate risk of damage associated with wind and fire to the structure and surrounding properties. 8, new testimony received from neighborhood residents during the public hearing for this application and not included in records for previous applications made clear that if granted, the requested variance would cause no harm to the area and it would improve the property's consistency with existing front setback and architectural features on adjacent and nearby lots. And 9, the new information in the record for this application, ZBA 23-8, is sufficient and substantial enough to warrant reconsideration of the board's previous 2 decisions to deny ZBA 22-18 and 23-1.
Second, wait, then.
Need information on the site plan as well. It was everything in there.
You could amend or the motion to include that the finding that the variance would be granted subject to Improvements shown on plan titled coastal site plan prepared for John Kaufman, 23 Blake Avenue, map 70, block 67, lot 54, Clinton, Connecticut, prepared by Indigo Land Design LLC, revised through March 21st, 2023.
And you said it.
So that can be, the coastal site plan as shown on the plan, so on the reverse side of your draft.
It's the same plan.
Okay. So it could be this language,
Okay,
coastal site plan.
this application, the grant, that's shown on the plans titled coastal site plan prepared for John Kaufman, 23 Blake Avenue, map 70, block 67, lot 54, Connecticut, prepared by Indigo Land Design LLC, revised through March 21st, 2023.
Okay, thank you, George. Is there a second on the motion?
That was Richard, Dennis.
Yes. Okay. Does the board have any further comments before we take a vote on this application?
I'll set.
You're set? George,
I'm all set.
Bert, Dylan?
Good.
Okay, and I'm all set. Can we do a roll call vote, please?
George Dorr,
Deny.
Dennis Armstrong,
Deny.
Bertram Schmitz,
No,
Dylan Walter,
Approved.
Lori Jaffe,
Denied.
the motion failed to carry 4 to 1 to 0. There were no abstentions.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think,
Would there be a motion to deny to the
because it's right, and at this point, we are moving on. Okay.
So do I make a motion to deny?
Right, the next, well, we have, I want to.
Okay, fine, sorry.
Next, no, that's fine. The next matter for deliberation, in decision will be ZBA 23-9 Cam, 23 Lake Avenue, Joe Ren applicant, Roberta Kaufman owner, assessors map 86, block 72, lot 101, zone R15, continued from August 16, 2023 and September 20th, 2023. Because the variance application 23 failed to carry, this would be a motion to deny. Is that correct? To deny, yeah. Would someone here to make a motion?
I'll make a motion, I got it. I make a motion to deny, application ZBA 23-9, CAM application. And that is, it is inconsistent with coastal policies and or results in unacceptable adverse impact.
Second.
And also, and we also want to say that it was,
Because the variance.
because the variance has been passed too.
You know, because of the variance did not pass.
Second.
Okay, is there a second?
Dennis,
Dennis? Okay. Is there any further discussion? Okay.
So the vote,
Even deny would be,
so you would vote yes to deny.
Yeah,
Right.
George Dorr,
yes,
Dennis Armstrong,
Yes.
yes,
Hey,
Whoa. I should call your names Bertram Schmitz, Dylan Walter,
hey,
Lori Jaffe.
yes.
The motion carried 1, 2, 3, 4 to 1 to 0.
Okay. Moving ahead on the agenda, new business. Is there any new business, from this, anyone, Sherry?
You'll get my agenda first. No new business.
Okay. Let's see, I just,
Yeah, correspondence.
oh, well, just one thing on new business, just to, I don't know, this is appropriate at this point, but I just want to remind the board members of the training requirements. For those people, for those of the board members who have not submitted their required hours of training, you need to do so by January 1st, 2024.
Correct, we'll need to report, so the sooner that you can get that done, the better. We're hoping that everybody can wrap up that training by the end of the year. If anybody needs suggestions, there's some webinars that we've sent out that you can kind of do at your leisure. But if you're looking for specific credits, we can help you find them.
Does anyone have any questions about that? No? Okay. Correspondence, is there any new correspondence?
No, I'm just gonna bring up the training, but just that.
And just one other thing about, got under new business, if there's any further training that our staff will be having from our town council, that will be provided to us down the road as needed, or?
Correct, we can certainly schedule and then we can look to after the election to perhaps do some of that, that work.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, no correspondence. Number 9, additions to agenda for the November 15th, 2023 regular meeting.
There will be, in November, you generally talk about the meeting date and time for 2024. And then, once you decide that, then we'll prepare the calendar to be adopted at the December annual meeting.
Okay, so we will do that at the November meeting.
Yeah,
Discuss
just
the dates and
discuss the meeting date and
Okay.
time.
Okay, in case there are holidays that require adjustments, things like that. Okay. Anything else? Any other additions? Okay, thank you. Adjournment, may I have a motion to adjourn? The second? All right, all in favor? Any opposed or abstentions? Motion is adjourned. It is now 5:05.